going to take a look at this idea of shifting curves. If you know what the basic curve looks like, then it's just a matter of knowing how it's been transformed. And you can get a pretty good rough sketch of most things using the idea. So we just have to keep things in mind. So whatever the basic curve is, function x is the basic curve. If I go plus some constant, then we're dealing with a change in the range. Notice I've written it another way. Really, this is grouping the constant with y. See, I can't group it with the x because I'd have to go bang, bang, and break into that function. I can't break into that function, if you like, because I don't know what the function is at this stage. So the only place I could move c, I couldn't get it to the x, I could only get it with the y. So that's a way of thinking about it. So therefore it's the range that's being affected, the y values. So it basically means we're moving it up or down, however many units C is. Now when I group it with the x, the reverse is happening. I can't break that constant out of the function, again, because I don't know what the function is. So it's grouped with the x. So therefore it's now changing the domain, having some sort of effect on the domain. So we've got a horizontal shift left or right depending on what C is. Now, if you're ever unsure which way you go, group it with the appropriate pronumeral and ask yourself what would make this equal to 0. And that'll tell you the shift. So when it's the first one, y equals function x plus c, say it was, function x plus 3. You go, well, hang on, I want to group this with the y. So if I had y minus 3, what would make that equal to 0? 3 would. So I must have moved it positive 3, up 3. Similar with if it's grouped with the x, if I had function x minus 4, horizontal shift, where have I moved it? What would make x minus 4 0? 4 would, so I've moved it to the positive side. Negative function x, if I have a negative in front of the whole function, that simply has the effect of flipping it upside down, because all your y values are changing sign. Okay, so what was positive 2 becomes negative 2 and so on. Whereas when it's with the x, also flips, but this one flips, that's vertically, isn't it? Yeah, in the y-axis. So I get something like this. So I'm looking at it, first thing I'm noticing is the basic curve, power 2 on 1, oh, it's a parabola. Okay, let's pretend we can't work anything out at the moment, but I know the basic shape, y equals x squared. What have we done to it? But hang on a sec, we've shifted it right 3 units. So it's grouped with the 3, so alright, let's shift it right 3 units. Now what else is happening here? Hang on, I've shifted it up 4 units. Okay, there we go. So there's our parabola with a vertex at 3, 4. Let's do another one. Let's do a cubic. So what have we done to this one? Basic curve is the cubic. So it's reflected in the x-axis because it's minus the function x. So, there we go. Reflecting the x-axis. It's shifted left 1 unit. Alright, and then it's shifted up 2 units. And so that rotational point is now at the point -1, 2. Oh, this one's not immediately obvious, but it is a circle, of course. But in order to work out the shifting, I need to group with the x, group with the y. So I'm going to have to complete the square. I'm going to do a couple of completions of the square. So I look at that and I say to myself, well, I know when I complete the square, I'm going to have x or y plus half the coefficient of x or y. So the x one must become x plus 1 squared, half of 2 being 1. And the y one must become y minus 2 all squared, half of -4 being -2. So I've completed the square there, but I can't just add new numbers in. So I've moved the 4 to the other side. I've also got to add in 1 squared and -2 squared, so all up we get 9. Now, Yes, I know we can look at that and fingers crossed, hopefully just go, oh, right circle, centre, minus 1, 2, radius 3, but let's pretend we don't. So the basic curve, x squared plus y squared, is 9. So I've got my basic circle of radius 3. It's shifted left, it's grouped with the x, shifted left 1 unit. Whoop. And then grouped with the y, so remember what makes it equal to 0? So it's shifted up 2 units. So my centre has moved from 0, 0 to 1, 2. Technically I should have written in the length of my radius there and I didn't. Bad. Exponential, 2 to the power of negative x. Basic curve, y equals 2 to the power of x. This is a case of function negative x. The negative is not in front of the whole function, but just in front of the x. So this would be a reflection in the y-axis. And so there's 2 to the power of negative x. Alright, so some more to have some fun with, and then tomorrow we can look at some other ideas about shifting curves around and how we can transform our basic curves into other graphs.